uh, he was a lead generation agency owner that successfully sold 2 years ago. So he has a lot of experience in a cold calling and with a lead generation. And when we discuss today's topic, we just find out that the cold calling can be really interesting. And at this moment, Arnold, do you want to something add to your introduction?
Yeah, thank you so much, Thomas, for introducing me very well and for inviting me at this webinar. So to add on what Thomas just said about cold calling and my background, I've been doing cold calling for the past 12 years. So I can give you a little bit of context. I started doing cold calling when I was 22 years old. I'm 34 right now. And I was doing like cold calling into a bank. So I was working in an investment bank. And when I arrived, I remember they gave me that list of people and they said, look, we got a mandate to sell companies and to sell potential buyers. You do whatever you want. You take that phone, you call them one by one, and the objective is to get us meetings. At that time, I never did cold calling in my entire life. So it was like, okay, so I just need to follow this list, grab that phone, compose the phone number, and try to get a meeting with those people on that list. And it happened that I enjoy doing it because I had a very simple approach that worked very well. And I was one of the top performers in the team. And since 2014, I always did cold calling. And even right now, like I can tell you, I did some cold calling today. Even today, I called back some companies in Australia, some companies in Singapore, because I'm based in Asia Pacific. And before doing ScaleList, that we started about 2 years ago, as Thomas mentioned, I ran a lead generation agency where we were doing cold emailing, cold calling, and cold LinkedIn. So I had a massive team doing cold calling for many different clients across Asia Pacific and Europe as well. And we finally sold that company a few months back, which was very interesting. And I really enjoyed that experience because because I did the cold calling on my own, but then I also managed like teams doing cold calling. And those teams were working with different types of clients. Like some clients were massive. We had clients like Cloudflare. We had clients like the FWD, which is a massive real estate company. We worked with the European Union as well. And then we had smaller companies like SMEs with just like the founder and maybe 2 or 3 other people. So over the past, during that 5 years of running an agency, I saw a wide range of use cases applicable to cold calling. And right now I'm on the other side of the outbound because I mostly provide data to those companies. So I provide phone numbers. I don't really help them actioning any lead generation strategy. Of course, I still do it because I like advising some of the clients for free. But we provide data. We provide mobile numbers and email addresses for them. So we help them with their lead generation prospect list. And today, with Thomas, we wanted to share a little bit more about what works, what doesn't work in cold calling, but primarily sharing a little bit about the mindset of a cold caller, because like whenever you jump into, go ahead. Sorry, Thomas.
I will give you the screen that you can basically manage the presentation.
No worries.
It will be the better. And meanwhile, when you start screen sharing, my experience basically from cold calling is almost none. To be honest, I did around 10 cold calls in my life, but we had in the past the multiple agencies that are calling for us, basically that we basically outsourcing the cold calls to the agencies. Also our sales reps time to time do the cold calls. And here basically really depends how the script is set up, how the openers are set up, and those small things really depends in a phone calling, because time to time some of the agencies bring us during a week around the 30 meetings, but some of the agencies basically give us 2 meetings per the whole month, and there was a really huge gap. But the targeting industry is the same, and I hope that after this webinar, I will learn more what we can improve into the cold calling. And screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Thomas. So can you guys see my screen? Okay, yes. Just confirm if you cannot. Before we start, I know that Thomas asked you a question, which is who is doing cold calling? So I'm going to ask you the opposite question. Who never did cold calling here, but wants to start?
You can use the emojis that are in the middle of a screen, like here, basically thumb up and thumb down. Thumb down if you never did a cold.
Okay.
So ups. So a lot of people, but yeah, we have there also the people that never did cold calls.
Okay, very good. I like how the emojis are popping up. Okay, that's cool. So we still have a majority of people who have done cold calling, and we have a few of you who never did. So let's start right now. So I'm gonna go to the presentation. So today is going to be quite simple. I'm going to talk about like the next 20 to 30 minutes, and the objective is please interrupt me if you have any questions. Like, feel free to share, because it's not about like me presenting, but it's more like about the conversation that we can have about cold calling, and we can deviate from the presentation. That's not really the problem. So those are the 5 points that I'm planning to go through. So why the phone is back, what is the main data issue that people can have related to cold calling, how to hook someone on the phone in the first 5 seconds. And that's not just about the words, but it's actually a little bit deeper than that. And I think that's the key element of that presentation. Then some solution and the objection playbook, and then the winning stack. And of course, guys, we have a little surprise for you at the end, so please stay with us during that time. So why is everyone giving up on cold calling? So it's pretty simple. Cold calling is very hard, and that's why nobody likes doing it, because it's difficult to fully automate. You need to put the hours, and all the other acquisition channels, such as cold emailing, cold LinkedIn, and also content in general, except YouTube, can be pretty easily automated nowadays with AI or with any solution. But for cold calling, you still need to put the hours. You still need to like every day be super disciplined, and that's not easy at all. And to give you also some numbers on why I would not give up on cold calling is, and that's not number that I have invented. That's numbers that are there are proper sources below those numbers. 82% of buyers accept a meeting post call. So meaning if you start doing cold calling and you have a very decent conversion rate, meaning you get people replying on your calls, 82% will convert into a meeting. Might not say that it will convert into like an opportunity or sales, but at least you're going to move one step further. And another stat that is also very important if you are calling senior people or C-suite is that 57% of C-suite prefer the phone over email, because it's direct, and I mean, they don't have time. So if you call them and there is an immediate transaction that can be made or an immediate decision that can be taken, I can tell you most of them will prefer that. So that's why 57%. After that, if we compare this with cold email, because I mean, I've sent hundreds of thousands of cold emails, and I'm sure you guys here have sent like hundreds of thousands of cold emails as well. I see Thomas saying yes, yes,
Yes, basically, when I seen the user stats at this moment, almost every day from our platform goes out around 3 million emails, and this number is still increasing. So the emails is
Yeah.
really popular.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised. And the problem that we have right now with cold emails is the results are declining. I mean, you need to do a lot more volume that you used to have to send on a daily basis. Like when I started cold emailing about 12 years ago, you could send thousands of email on the one single domain, one single inbox, without even thinking about like, oh, I'm going to end up in spam or whatever. No, now you have like very strict rules with 20 emails per inbox, three inbox per domain, or even less than that. And even with all the protections, yeah, go ahead, Thomas.
We know that really well. Basically,
Yeah.
the issue right now is that to send the right cold emails in a right way is really expensive these days, because you just need to scale up the infrastructure. And
Exactly.
also, when you start sourcing the data, you just need to be slightly unique. So you just need to do the proper data research, what the company do, really use the right signals, really well research the company, because after that, you will end it up between all other cold mails that are not relevant for the people, because most of these sales reps go to the LinkedIn, scrape the first filter, skip totally the research part, database cleaning, and start the smashing the emails to all the database, and it does not work anymore. The time when we're reaching out info at company name was really great, but at this moment you just need to really spend the time with that, and it's really crowded.
Yeah, it is. So that's why the other side is doing traditional sales. And again, it doesn't sound sexy, but it is what it is. And I can tell you, taking the phone makes sense. And there is no filter, no spam. You have direct conversation with people, and people accept conversation. So to give you some numbers of my cold calling session today I made 40 calls this afternoon. I called 9 people in Australia and 31 in Singapore. I got 11 people on the phone who replied, and I had 11 conversations on the phone. And doing those 40 down and have those 11 conversations took me an hour and a half of my time. 11 conversations. Like, you don't have 11 people, like C-suite or even like senior sales, senior marketing people answering your email in an hour and a half. That doesn't exist. Or maybe you should, or maybe I don't know enough about cold email, and you should definitely teach me what you're doing. And maybe it's possible, but I've never seen that. So with cold calling, you can definitely switch the way you have conversation with people, and you have a really fast feedback loop if you do it well. And that's what we're going to actually see today. So one element that we need to take into consideration, and I won't spend too long on this part, but you can have a script, you can be like very well prepared to start doing cold calling, but if you have like wrong data, wrong numbers, you're not going to go far. And that's actually a massive problem, because like one variable, meaning the variable of not having the right number, if you have the right numbers, you get 2.5 times more connects, which means that it can really make your pipeline fluctuate just on a daily basis if you do cold calling every single day. That's Scalys, by the way. That's the platform that I run. I'm not going to go through this too much, because I think if you have questions about Scalist, I think that's more beneficial at the end. So why did I write 5 seconds? Does anyone have an idea about that? No one? Okay. So Patrick has an idea. Okay. Thank you, Patrick. So 5 seconds is basically the time that you have to hook somebody and make the first best impression during a cold call. All right. Like the first 5 seconds of a cold call. If you screw those first 5 seconds, like next call, or at least you lose your chance to talk with that person. And to also give you 2 tips on how to nail those 5 seconds. And then, of course, I'm going to share more information, but the 2 most important things during those first 5 seconds is your tone of voice and your confidence. So if you don't have the right tone of voice, and if you don't feel energetic during those first 5 seconds, they will feel it. Your prospects will feel it on the phone. And they won't give you the additional 10 or 15 seconds that you need to hook them even more. And that's super, super important. And I'm going to give you an example, like a real example. Imagine I come and I say, hey, Thomas, this is Arnaud from Scalist. I sell data for B2B sales companies. Are you going to take me seriously? And even like, I can take an even more monotonous tone. Thomas is going to be like, okay, who's that again? Like, Arnaud, from where? Scalist? What do you do?
Yeah,
like, it doesn't make any sense.
That basically reminds me the sales calls from really huge companies that providing the CRM systems that I receiving again, and again, and it's like that. And I don't care. I don't like it. It is like non-energetic, and I don't need to basically react on those calls. And I don't feel that bad when I basically stop this call after those 5 seconds without answer.
Exactly. And when you do a cold call, people, they want to have the feeling that they are talking to a friend or somebody that they kind of know. Because if you do like everyone else, if you just have the same tone, the same confidence, you use the same words that everyone else, what's the point? So the opposite of the approach that I've used could be first verifying that I'm talking with the right person. So whenever somebody answers my call, I usually ask the first question, Thomas?
Yes.
And then I just, I verify that I'm talking with Thomas. Thomas? And then he says, yes. Okay, it's Arnaud from Scalist. How are you doing? And just saying this part very confidently, it's Arnaud from Scalist. How are you doing? And I know that some guys don't like don't say how are you doing, and just say, oh, you're calling, it's a cold call, can you give me a chance, or anything like that. That approach, the how are you doing, works super well for me, and I've been working for years. And I will go back to this later because I have another specific example for you. But to go back to that slide, 5 seconds is what you have to make the first best impression. And if you don't have the right tone of voice, and if you don't have the right energy, it's not going to work. So now, let's understand how to nail those 5 seconds outside of what I said. So you need to understand that, first of all, cold calling is a contact sport. It's like boxing, or like MMA, if you prefer. Like if you go to a boxing match and you have literally no training, no diet, and not good sleep, there's a high chance that somebody is going to knock you out very, very rapidly. So you don't want that. You don't want that at all. And because that's the same for cold calling. So if you do cold calling, you need good training, you need good sleep. I mean, you eat whatever you want, but good sleep and good training are very good, because your sleep is going to impact your mood, and your mood is cold calling, is going to impact your frustration. And because you're going to go through a lot of rejections, you need to be, you need to feel great. Like, for example, for myself, and it's the case for a lot of people, like if I sleep less than usual, I get frustrated a lot faster. And because cold calling is about handling rejections, handling people, handling no's, if you're not in a good mood, if you are tired, if you don't accept those rejections, because you need to take this as a game. And when you're tired, usually playing with other humans during work time is not really what you want to do. And you don't want to hear no all the time, which happens 90% of the time when you do cold calling. So that's why your mood is very, very, very important. And being in sales, doing cold calling is more like a marathon than a sprint. So it's super, super, super important. One thing that I would advise as well is having rituals before a cold calling session. So, for example, if you decide, okay, I'm going to call every single day, 2 hours a day, either from, let's say, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Let's take this as an example. Before calling, you need to be super pumped. You need to be, you have to have a lot of energy into you. And I can tell you, when I started my sales career, it was not like 2 hours a day. I was calling 6 to 7 hours a day, making like 250, 300 dials a day. It was insane. It was insane, but I was pretty good at doing it. And that was my only task. I was a business development manager. I had myself and two, three other guys working with me, the team, and we were just cold calling all day long. And I remember in the morning when I was going to work, either by bike or by metro, when I arrived, maybe 5 minutes, I was 5 minutes from the office, and I would listen to the exact same song from Metallica. I don't know if you know Metallica, the metal group. I'm not like a huge fan of them, but if you listen to Metallica song, Fade to Black, before going to a cold call session, then you just want to fight after listening to one of the songs. So like you get very pumped. You take the phone and you dial. You dial, and that's the most important. And it puts you in a mood like this is the pre-boxing match. Yeah,
it's basically exactly like the boxing match. I have basically the experience from the jiu-jitsu, basically from the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I using the Metallica to hype me in a gym and etc. So I never use that to hype me to the work. So I will test it out. It's really a great tip. And I need to agree in general that basically really depend also on a sleep, that basically the job is some type of a performance that you need to do. And basically when you would like to perform well, you just need to be well prepared, and it's about the motivation. And if you would like to be really great in a job, you just need to also focus on the regeneration, to get the enough healthy sleep and etc. to be great and performing well in a job, not only in a sport. So really like it.
No, exactly. One other thing as well that I still do from time to time, that I used to do it quite a lot, especially before my cold calling session in the afternoon. So I was doing skipping rope before a cold calling session, like, because you have lunch, you feel a little bit like sleepy because of the digestion. So to energize myself, I was doing like 5 minutes skipping rope. And after that, you're so pumped because, you jump for 5 minutes. So It's just like one tip that I can give you. Also, last two tips. Before every single cold call, smile. And during a call, smile. And after a call, even if you took a rejection, smile. It doesn't matter because it's a numbers game, and it's not always your fault if a cold call did not go as well as you expected. Don't forget that you are interrupting people's day. So if I call Thomas at 2:30 p.m., he might be in between like two meetings or between two discussions with his team, and he might not be like available for me. So if he tells me like, look, Arnaud, not right now, like call me back whenever, but not right now, it doesn't mean no. It means that tomorrow or in 3 days, I can call him back and maybe it will be in a better mood or it will be a better time. Or you can just simply ask, okay, when should I call you back? Like very simply. So to go back on the smile, you're not responsible for other people's mood. So don't forget to smile because people can hear it. We can hear a smile. And last point, it might sound stupid, but you need to know what you're going to say. Like you don't go to a cold call like freestyle. Of course, at the beginning, at some point, you can go freestyle because you have done it and you've practiced it like thousands of times. Like when you've done cold calling for 5 years, 10 years, you don't need a lot of preparation because it's like so embedded in yourself that you don't need. But at the beginning, like during your first 3 to 6 months of doing cold calling, like write down what you're going to say, test approaches, visualize the call, remind yourself the calls that you've done, record every single calls, listen to the calls after, listen to the calls that have worked, listen to the calls that did not work, and mostly the ones that did not work, because at least you can understand, you can listen, okay, this I didn't see, I didn't say it properly, or this, I didn't start my sentence with like pushy enough. I was not like, I was not saying it the right way, the right tone of voice. And the other aspect as well of listening to your call is you, during the moment when you are in a cold call, you don't hear yourself the same way than you hear yourself in a recording. First of all, because you have two types of voice, the one that people hear and the one that you hear yourself. And on another hand, when you analyze a cold call like bit by bit, it's just like, for example, I'm going to give you a very important example and why you should do it. You know, every single professional players, let's say in basketball or in football, or even like Beyonce, we all know Beyonce here. What Beyonce does after every single performance is watching herself performing. Why? Because she wants to see every single issues, every single problems, every single every single thing that she did not do well during that performance. And you're the Beyonce of cold calling, my friend. So you need to listen to yourself after the cold call, not after every single cold call, but at the end of your cold calling session, or maybe you set up like 2 or 3 hours during your week where you just listen to your calls and you take notes of what went well, why did not go well. And after that, you try to remove what did not go well and work on it and do more of what went well and noticing the patterns. And that's how you're going to progress. And after 3 to 6 months, it's going to become very, very, very natural. I hope it helped. I spent quite a lot of time on that slide because I think it's very, very important. So the rest are some examples of like first 5 seconds that I would never use, such as the reason I'm calling is, or did I catch you at a bad time? Please never say, did I catch you at a bad time? Yes. The
Yes,
question.
we have a question. So I will try to. Okay. Let's participate. Okay, now you can join us and ask the question directly to us. Or it was a misclicked. So let's see. Nothing is happening.
Okay, if you still have the question, you can, I think, still write it into the incoming
Amazing.
messages,
So
and we're gonna
hello.
carry on.
Hello.
Oh
we
yeah,
have
you are here.
there-
Okay.
You can ask the question, and Ngozi, I don't know if I
Okay.
pronounced the name correctly.
You did well.
Thank
You
you.
did well. I am Ngozi. I'm calling from Nigeria. Most times
Nice to meet
in
you.
this part of the world now. Yeah, nice to meet you there. Thanks for giving us the don'ts of cold calling. I think I'm guilty of 2 of them. Okay, especially did I call at the right time? I am guilty of that. Okay, so most times in this part of the world, when you call, it's robot answering, so you're finding it difficult to get through to the line, or you call someone, picks and tell you call back later. By the time you're calling back later, you're meeting a second person on the line, especially for corporate offices. How do you navigate such situations? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Are you saying that whenever you have somebody on the phone, technically it's either not the right person, or what is the other case? Can you repeat?
Maybe it's the right person. You're calling, maybe it's the right person taking the call at that point, but it's not readily available to have that call meeting with you. It's referring you to call next time.
Okay.
When you call next time, you meet another person on the call, especially for corporate offices, because you don't have access to personal phone number. Maybe I want to speak to the marketing manager and I don't have her personal line,
Okay.
but I need to call her office line and probably the extension. So you find out a way. It says, oh, call back in 10 minutes. She's in a meeting. So you call back in 10 minutes. Is another person taking the call. You just have to explain yourself
Okay.
over and over again. How do you navigate such situation?
Okay. 2 things. First one, try to avoid calling office line and call mobiles. That's number 1. And second, when you have that person that you talk to, that head of marketing that you really wanted to talk to, but that person tells you, hey, I'm not available right now. Now, what you just have to ask is, okay, is, let's say, tomorrow, 2 p.m., a right time to have a conversation with you? So at least you set up time with that person, specific time with that specific person that you really want to talk to, and you end up in their calendar. So at least it's not like just a random cold calling, but it's a meeting with that person. And you try to set up like a 5, 10, 15 minutes catch up with that person. And it doesn't happen on the phone, but it happens on Google Meet or on Zoom based on what you're using. But that's how I do. Like whenever somebody tells me, hey, I'm not available right now, call me back later. Okay, either when can I call you back? Like, can I call you back at a very specific time? Or can we catch up tomorrow at 2 p.m. your time? And I send you a calendar invitation with a Loom invitation.
And this is the basically also thing that we do with a call center, because when they are calling, they already have also the research, the business email addresses of those people, and basically they just setting up the blockers directly in their calendars when they does not have time right now and would like to talk tomorrow or till end of the week. They just, okay, and can I send you the invitation? And they have directly the email of a person and they send the calendar invitation and it's covered. So yeah.
Block the person time as fast as possible when this happens. And don't be scared to ask that question, because one thing that that I'm gonna keep repeating during that time, and I think it's super crucial, is during a sales conversation, even if it's like a sales call or like a sales meeting that you have with somebody, don't forget that the one who is asking the questions is the one in control of the conversations. So if you ask the conversation, hey, like just tell me what time you're free, like tomorrow, or can we have a conversation at 2 p.m. tomorrow? Or when is the best time for me to call you? Like just tell me and I will set some time apart in my calendar to call you when you're available. You're in control. They have to answer. And if they answer like approximatively, or if they don't answer, that's not a prospect for you. So don't waste time. Oh, don't waste time on those people. Don't waste time on those people. So to go back to the slide, those are three type of hook, three type of start of a cold call that I would never use. The reason I'm calling, like, we know you're calling for a specific reason, so just say it if you have to say it. Did I catch you at a bad time? Don't ask that question, because the answer is always yes, you catch me at a bad time, because you interrupt someone's day and nobody wants to be interrupted out of the blue. And I would love to learn more about X, Y, and Z. Like, don't ask, like, just be straight to the point. Next, so the formula that I tend to follow and that I would advise you to follow is the CVQ. And I'm gonna go back to the example that I gave you earlier with a little bit more context. So before we discuss this, you know that my favorite approach is about asking the prospect name on the phone, which is Thomas. Yeah. Okay. This is Arnaud. I'm the founder of Scalist. How are you doing? You know, by saying this, because I call like senior people who are in sales and marketing, whenever, if you have like, if you're a founder of your own company, or if you are like senior enough to, I would not say make it impressive, but it's more like showing that there is like the right fit in between people. Because if you ask, if you call senior people, showing and sharing that you are a senior people yourself, like, okay, we are equal to equal. We can compare apple to apple, and then they're going to take you a lot more seriously. And on my hand, because I'm saying, hey, I'm the founder of Scalist. You don't have a lot of founders doing cold calling. And because whenever I do cold calling, it's for big deals. And I'm actually calling like clients who can have contracts with our company, like six figures type of contracts. So you need to, like, I'm not gonna give this responsibility to a manager or to someone who just started their career, because they're not gonna be taken seriously. And the last part, and that's also something that I've worked very well for myself, and actually I did a LinkedIn post about it today, is I call people on WhatsApp. So that's why, to go back to the question that was asked by the audience earlier, don't call main lines, because you're going to waste time. And I know that in some countries, unfortunately, it's not possible. And prioritize mobile numbers. And if you have the mobile numbers, there is a high chance that there is a WhatsApp account that is associated with that mobile numbers. And who do you have on WhatsApp? People you are close with, or people that you at least know or have heard of. And whenever you call somebody on WhatsApp, when you do cold calling on WhatsApp, your name pops up on the screen of that person, because you're part of the same app. So they can see that Arnaud is actually calling Thomas. And Thomas is like, who is Arnaud again? How did I meet that guy? And then when I say very confidently, and I call Thomas like he's like my friend, and I say, hey, Thomas, how are you doing? This is Arnaud from Scalist. He's like, in his head, he's like, where did I meet with Arno? And of course, they're going to reply, yeah, I'm good. What about you? Like every time, I mean, not every time, but 80 to 85% of the time, this approach works because there is more like familiarity with WhatsApp, and people are a lot more relaxed whenever somebody calls them from WhatsApp than like just on their mobile through the normal channel, like the normal phone channel, because that's where the spam comes from. Like call centers who want to sell you like insurance or like stupid stuff, they call you through your main line, like your mobile, but they don't call you on WhatsApp. So if you want a way to differentiate, use WhatsApp. And also to go back to the questions that got asked earlier, if somebody tells you, hey, cannot really talk right now, I cannot really talk right now, call me back later. If unfortunately you don't have the time to, let's say, fix an appointment or ask for a specific day and a specific time to have that conversation, you can still text them on WhatsApp. It's free and they're going to see it. And if they don't really reply, you will know that they are not super into it anyway. So that's what I do and the way I frame my call before any call. And then to go back to the formula, so the CVQ, C is for context. So you should always have a little bit of context about who you are calling, because knowing your ideal customer profile, knowing your ICP, and if you're not familiar with what an ICP is, please do a research on ChatGPT or Google about what an ICP is, because this is going to help you tremendously to not call the wrong people and waste a lot of time. Because if you know that your clients are, let's say, companies that have at least 3 salespeople in their team, that are already using a technology such as HubSpot, Pipedrive, or Salesforce, then it makes your life easier because you can pre-qualify those guys. Like it's very easy nowadays with LinkedIn to understand who has at least 3 people in their sales team, and then you can analyze software, and everybody knows about everyone CRMs anyway. So you can easily understand if they are using Salesforce, HubSpot, or Pipedrive. So then when you call, you can say, oh, hey, Thomas, I noticed that you have 3 SDR into your team. I also saw on LinkedIn that you are hiring like 2 or 3 others. Like you use HubSpot. How is it going? Like, what's the process right now for them to load like phone numbers and email addresses with your HubSpot account?
And this research is really important. It's like the homework, and when you have this homework done properly, that can open the gate to the really big opportunities.
Exactly. And then whenever you say something like that, like the context, you provide some value about what you are doing, always end with a question. Because, as I said, the one who is asking the question is the one in control of the conversation. And your objective as a salesperson who is on the phone with a prospect, of course, down the line is to book a meeting with that person, but you don't want to book a meeting with somebody who has 0 interest in your product. So you need to ask the right questions to kind of pre-qualify very rapidly that prospect, to make sure that during that half an hour conversation that you schedule with them, let's say 2 days from the call, you have more context. You have context about that future conversation, and you can go deeper into the points that about the points that they gave you, the answers that they gave you. So in that sense, it makes that second conversation a lot more valuable for them, because you can prepare it and bring like concrete examples that are either related to the results that you got in a similar industry with their competitors. And also you can ask additional questions that are complementary to qualify even more that lead. And once you have done that, ultimately, if you've done your work properly and if the prospect fits your ideal customer profile and also meet the criteria to possibly buy your product, it becomes an opportunity. And then ultimately, that's how you close more deals. Do you have something to add, Thomas?
Before we move forward, we have there the questions, and I overlooked some questions 10 minutes ago. And the first question that is really interesting, when is the best time to make the cold calls, from Katerina?
Okay, honestly, there's no right answers to that. I've done cold calls at the beginning of the day, anytime in the day. And I mean, you need to try it. It really depends on your industry. Like, for example, you know that people in the tech industry, there is a high chance that they are in meetings all the time. Like, even if they are senior person, they would be in meetings all the time. So either you catch them at the beginning of the day when the work day hasn't started. So you can call them at like 8 a.m. on their mobile. They will be like, okay, who's calling me at 8 a.m.? But at least you get more chance that they are not in meetings. Or right before lunch, or even during lunch, right after lunch, or at the end of the day. Those are the timelines that I think are the most reasonable. But again, there's no science between that. Like, you can call and get lucky. It's about like the numbers.
After that, we have there another question from Patrick. I like the analogy with the hyping yourself. I have the kind of same thing that works for me. When you don't do the cold calls for some time, for me it is 2 weeks and more. I feel super rusty, and I need to make 2 up to 3 cold calls to get back in a saddle. Do you have the same issue?
Yes. Yes, for sure. Like, sometimes you start, like, for example, today I did some cold calls, and similarly to you, that was my first time since probably mid-Jan, so about 2 months without doing any cold calls. And yeah, like, it was tough. Like, the first cold call, I was like, blah, blah, blah. It was not easy. But then you go like, oh, I've done that for 10 years. I can do a lot better. And then you focus a little bit, listen a little bit of Metallica, and then you go back.
But it's the same analogy with the boxing. When you go to the box after 2 months, also it does not work well.
Exactly.
After that, we have another question from Patrick. I do DD. I don't know what this shortcut means. Every cold call, simple where I'm calling, who I'm calling, what they do. How robust DD do you do? DD is utility. I don't know what this.
Due diligence.
Maybe, I guess.
I guess it's due diligence. I mean, for me, the due diligence is done even before we have any list, actually, because it goes back to the ICP. Like, our ICP is very specific. We know what type of people we are going after, what type of accounts we're going after, why we're going after them, what is the size of the team, what software they are using, etc., etc. So to me, when I call, I don't even have to do a due diligence, because I have everything into my CRM. Like, it's like a table, and I know exactly that, okay, they are using Pipedrive. Okay, they have like 5 sales. Those are the name of the 5 sales. I know who is the guy, how long he has been in the company, how long he has been in sales, etc., etc. So, like, to me, I have the information in front of me. I know exactly how to pitch them when they reply on the phone. So it's kind of not too complex. But that due diligence time is done by somebody from my team, and I think it takes quite some time for them to be able to do it properly.
Advertisement from due diligence part, you can use the lead speaker. You have there everything what you need. After
Exactly.
that, we have there the other question. What's the best way to record my calls?
It depends. If you're using, if you do like sales calls, like we're doing right now, I'm using Sibyl .ai. And if you are using like a dialer, and I think you should, if you want to record your calls. I mean, a few dialers, and actually we talked about it at the end of the presentation, guys. I talk way too much. But it's okay. So some dialers that I would allow you to go after. Of course, WhatsApp is not a dialer; it's just a way to do cold call. But Skip Call, Flutter, Allo, and there is also like companies like Aircall that are a bit more like enterprise. But those are dialer that can help you to actually record your call and then go back at it whenever you can, basically.
And also because some people are from the Czech Republic here in the Czech Republic is really famous. The Cloud Talk is basically originally the Czech or the Slovakian company, so they also support the call recordings, but also you need to basically do the analysis on top of that, and the recording is not enough. You also need to do the B. Patrick writing that DD was really due diligence, so we are great.
Yeah. Good. Amazing. Amazing. Any other questions?
Yes, we have the question from the Peter. What the length of a time should I set in calendar for cold calling? I think it's basically the individual based on a business and based on the expectations. But what is your opinion on that?
To me, it's minimum 2 hours. Minimum 2 hours, like block of 2 hours, because after 2 hours, I mean, you get tired. I mean, I get tired after 2 hours of just like calling, repeating myself. And if I go through too many rejections after 2 hours, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go crazy. So I need like to rest a little bit and do something else. But 2 hours, I think is good. 1 hour is too short. 3 hours is too much. So block of 2 hours.
Okay, great. We covered for now all questions, and we slowly finalizing the time. So in 3 minutes we should end, but I think we can little bit prolong by 10 minutes or something just like that to finish everything. Okay, Hubert has another question. So Aničko, please, can you add the Hubert here?
Okay. One thing that I think would be very important. Hubert is a contributor. Okay, nice to meet you, Hubert.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hi. This is Herbert from Generation Ed. My quick question is WhatsApp the best way to do cold calling?
I mean, depends. I do cold calling on WhatsApp because I'm based in Asia. I'm based in Singapore, and whenever I target enterprise large accounts, I target them in Singapore and in Australia. And I know from fact that Australian and Singaporean replies very often on WhatsApp. And in my experience, I've done it as well in France. I've done it in the US a little bit. I've done it in the UK a little bit, and it works. It's just that you need to try it. You need to test it for yourself. But there is that proximity with WhatsApp where people tend to answer a lot more their WhatsApp than the normal line from their phone. And there's that proximity that will improve your open rate. I mean, your open rate, the conversion rate of the phone, basically.
And again, here is a directly connected with your ICP. As a first, you just need to analyze your ICP, and when there will be the huge overlap that your ICP is also the present on the WhatsApp, you can test it out. But for example, when you are in some region where the WhatsApp is not that much popular as here in Europe or in the Singapore, it can be totally useless method for you. You just need to optimize again based on your ICP, as unfortunately everything else. It's nothing like this works for everyone. There are everywhere the small things that you need to change by your targeting.
Exactly. It's not like it's solved. So just to wrap up, guys, and of course you will receive that presentation after the conversation, but those are like I summarized like the top 8 objections that you can face during cold calling. And I know those are the top 8 because I've heard them many times, and I crash test the solution basically to answer. So those are this is an objection playbook that you can go through on your own time with that presentation. The stack is something that we have briefly seen earlier. So if you guys, I mean, many ask, sorry, to what type of dialer they should have. So I mentioned Skip Call, mentioned Flinter, Allo, and you can also leverage WhatsApp. In terms of the data, of course, I mean, I'm the co-founder of Scalist, so I use Scalist on a daily basis to get emails and mobile numbers. So that works very well for myself and for thousands of companies out there as well. So feel free to check out Scalist on top of that. And in the end, I mean, Thomas, if you want to say a quick word about Lead Speaker.
I think basically the Lead Speaker you can use for the research, for the database building, and also when you start using the Scalist, you can connect basically the Scalist API directly to the Lead Speaker. And I just started testing the Scalist 2 days ago, and I just need to say that the coverage is really great also in Europe, that most of the data providers has issue in Europe, but basically I just tested out for a few of our customers and few of the leads, and I just received the correct phone numbers. So really great job. You just did something really well.
Good. Thank you so much, Thomas. And one last thing, I mean, to recap what we just said in terms of how you should prep for your cold calling. So first of all, audit your data because that's crucial. Before you start any cold call, prep what you're going to say. Prep your leads list to make sure that, okay, everything is clear and you won't waste time in between calls, because the in-between calls is that you should optimize as much as you can. Then schedule that by 2 hours block when you're going to cold call. Of course, kill your openers, but I think we've talked quite a lot about it today, and I give you some tips and you can review it in the presentation. And then if you want to complement cold calling with like sequencing on LinkedIn or cold emailing, I mean, of course you should do it because like one acquisition channel is clearly never enough. So go for it. And the surprise of today, at least from Scalist. So for those who want 15% discount forever on Scalist, you can have that with the code SL15. Take a screenshot of that if you want. This offer is available until tomorrow, 12 a.m. GMT 8. So GMT 8 is China time. So it's 5 p.m. CET. So if you're in Europe, it's 5 p.m. for you. So this is available for you until 5 p.m. tomorrow. SL15, 15% forever on Scalist. I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Thomas and I on LinkedIn.
I will also add one surprise.
Oh yes, go ahead.
You just skip the slide, so I will share the presentation, and basically we also prepare something for you. We usually do not offering the discounts, but basically this discount is valid till end of this week. So basically till Sunday, and it's basically the 15% off off, I also think that is a lifetime, basically, till you cancel the subscription for the Lead Picker. So yeah, you can also make the screenshot from that, and Anička will basically drop you those 2 coupons, so also with the YouTube recording and the presentation with the newsletter after this webinar. And one small thing, basically, when you would like to connect the scale list directly to the Lead Picker, you can do that over the HTTPS request, where you just import the kernel that basically give you the scale list, and you can utilize the scale list data directly inside the Lead Picker, so you can start scaling your phone outreach and build the database directly inside the platform where you have the rest of the things. And maybe in the future, we will create the direct integration without HTTPS requests, because I was really surprised.
I hope we will. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to reach out to Thomas and I. I mean, for myself, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think that's what the QR code is indicating. Is it?
Yes, this is a QR code on the LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with us. We will be happy, because the more followers, more influencers we are. So it's you can connect with us on the LinkedIn. Feel free to ask the questions also on the LinkedIn after the webinar. And at this moment is the last time when I'm opening the Q&A section and when I'm opening the chat to check it out if there are some new questions. And
there are too many questions.
I see new questions. Does it matter what country the number you are calling from is from? I think
yes, it matters.
It matters. It matters a lot.
Matter. Like if you are calling in the US, call with a US number. If you're calling in Singapore, call with a Singapore number. If you're calling in Australia, I do call in Australia with a Singaporean number, but I mean, Australia, Singapore is not that far, and the advantage that I have is that Australians do business in Singapore and vice versa. So doesn't really complicate things. And when you see a Singaporean number, I mean, you chill. Like, it's not like I'm calling from like a third world country with a shady number. And again, I have nothing against third world country, but it's just that people tend to get defensive or just tend to not pick up the phone because they see this as a scam, potential scam. So that's why try to match with a number, try to match the countries that you're calling, because it's going to make your life easier and your pickup rate more important, for sure.
And the people also the most likely pick the phone with the country code, because it can be anything else. It don't need to be the sales call. It can be the kindergarten with a child, so and etc. etc. It can be everything else. So there is more intent to pick it up. And we tested out to call with Czech phone numbers to the German market, and does not work. After that, we change it to the German, and it start working. We have there the question directly to Arnaud. Arnaud, you shared your stats. From 40 calls, you got the 11 discussions with an 82% conversion rate to meeting. Results differ across markets, for example, between France and EMEA. Can you specify the difference you've observed?
Okay, so for example, today with the numbers that I gave you, and I gotta be very transparent with you, 41 or 40 calls, I got 11 connections. So meaning I spoke with 11 people, but none of that went through a meeting. I didn't book any conversation, like second conversation from those 11 calls. However, I got a ton of information, and each conversation was about 2, 3, 4 minutes, because whenever I cold call and I'm able to like pass the 5 to 20 second timeline during that call, yeah, it's just like I'm able to continue a carry on for like 2 or 3 minutes. To go back to your questions on about Europe and EMEA, again, it's very different, because especially France, I know that the rules for cold calling in France are, I would say, a bit hardcore, to be frank. And it's not easy to do cold calling in France, because it seems that any outbound prospection in France is complex. They don't like it, and they make it complex for people who want to do it, and that's a problem. And so I guess, yes, the pickup rate is different. But again, I know I'm French, but I left France about 10 years ago, so I haven't done sales in France for a while. And at that time, like from 2014 and 2015, when I was working in an investment bank and I was doing cold calling in Société Générale, like it was different, because it was the Wild West. Like there were no rules, there were no specific technology restrictions to do cold callings, and the GDPR kind of laws and rules were not there yet. So, I mean, again, cold calls is a volume game, and it's just that for myself in Singapore and Australia and in Southeast Asia, in Asia Pacific in general, it's easier because people do a lot of business through phones, and that's one channel that is old school, but that works tremendously well. And everybody does WhatsApp, like business through WhatsApp. That's just the way the region works. So again, don't be too focused on what I just said, meaning like, oh, Arnaud said that I should do cold calling through WhatsApp, or I should do XYZ. Try it. If it works, that's great. However, just keep in mind that every specific industry like reacts differently to cold calling. And additionally to that, there are specificities to the countries that you're calling from and that you're calling to. And you need to take that into consideration. Like for example, if you tell me, hey, I'm going to do cold calling in the US, I can tell you that cold calling in the US is hardcore. I mean, it works, but the pickup rate is just like low. People receive.
I will share maybe one story, because I just spent basically 3 months in the US. I don't know, basically from September till November last year, and we just set it up the SIM cards in the US, and from 5 minutes since we basically activate the SIM card, we start receiving the cold calls for everything. So
Exactly.
it is total different. It is total different market, and it's something like that. Cold calling in the Europe works really well and can work really well because it is not crowded. In USA, they just say, okay, let's do the cold calling, but they are not dialing 200 numbers per day. They just dialing 2,000 numbers per day and per sales rep. So in a day, they are able to call the 10K people, and they just using the auto dialers, so they don't need to spend the time waiting on the line. So it's really crazy market in terms of everything about the outbound sales. It's outbound sales itself.
It is. I agree. Anything else, guys? Any other questions?
I think we covered everything. I just check it out again.
Amazing. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying longer. I see that we still have like 30 plus people here, which is pretty amazing. And again, if you have questions left after reviewing the presentation, or even if for your own cold calling, you want to reach out, just message us on LinkedIn, and we'd be very happy to continue the conversation.
And I would like to thank you for really nice presentation, for the experience.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sharing here. And basically, it seems that I will test it out finally after 8 years in outbound sales, the cold calls itself. And thank you for your insights. And maybe we can repeat that on the in next few months, because I think with AI it's still the progressing, how the cold calling working, how the research working behind. So thank you again. Thank you to everyone to joining us. Thank you for everyone that spent us the whole webinar. I just see that some people drop out after first hour, but we have there the 30 people that still listening us. So thank you guys, really appreciate that, and I hope that you learn something new. And the next week we will have another webinar focused to the content creation on the LinkedIn. So you will receive that in a newsletter also, the invitation. And if someone is at this moment in Austin on Southwest conference, on Monday we have an event there focused to the go-to-market. So Anička will add also the Luma invitation page to the newsletter. So the newsletter will be the full of the links and the invitations, and that's it basically from our side. And I wish you have a nice rest of the day. And to the Arnaud, to the Singapore, have a good night.
Thank you so much. See you guys. Take care of
See you.
yourself.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.